in front of 3,000 people and be with a witch doctor.
Yeah. I mean, because, you know, when you work in a call center environment, you're used to people threatening you.
Oh, no, I've never
You're used to people like, hey, calling in.
I mean, I'm the threatener.
Yeah.
And I am the one doing the threatening.
Yeah, but when you start doing that, we put you on mute and we have a conversation until you're done.
I told you. Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Come Fress with me. Here's Katie.
Hey, how's it? Thank you for having me.
Kate?
Yes.
KG came into my comedy life how long ago, love? Have we been working together now?
10 years? Just over 10 years?
Longer.
No,
How
just
old's
over
your
10
first
years.
one?
She's turning 10 in July.
And she wasn't born yet.
She wasn't born yet.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just over 10 years. My first gig was on the 1st of November 2010
Where?
at Joker's in Belgravia Road.
Okay.
Yeah, at Melody
So you
Chevlin's
came out of the Mel Chevlin.
Yeah.
So KG always talks about his father being a witch doctor and a shaman and...
I haven't spoken about that in a while, but it's true. It's all true, yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard that.
I retired the material a long time ago. Yeah, I retired the material a long time ago. I think it had gone its course.
But here's what I want, because the thing is about comedy, for me, comedy is always about honesty.
Yes.
KG could never get up on stage and talk about my father's a witch doctor if it wasn't true.
Yes.
But what I want to know, were people really scared of you? I mean, was there, there's a level of respect in a community for certain members. And I want to know, you talk about my father was a witch doctor and then like the biggest gangster would turn around.
I think that's part of the reason why I retired the material. Because as much as it had built my career, it wasn't completely true. Do you know what I mean? Because where we're from, in the townships, it's not weird that house has got a healer. It's a normal thing. People are not scared. People are scared of witchcraft. But I've never threatened anyone of witchcraft. I've been threatened with witchcraft.
No.
And the gag was based on my reaction from being threatened with witchcraft.
Is there food?
Yeah, food, Tracy. Tracy, we're here for food.
This is an eating one.
Tracy, we're here for food, man.
It's called Come Fress with me.
It's called Come Fress
I
with
need
me.
a friend.
Yeah.
All right, you
that's
two
fresh.
keep talking. I'm going to go get the food.
What does fresh
I
mean?
mean, what does fress mean? You've just asked. Okay, Jewish people, my darling, we don't ever nibble.
Okay.
We don't have eats.
Yeah.
We fress. It's to eat wholeheartedly with your heart and your soul. It's like eating large amounts of food.
Oh, dope.
That's it. It's not, I mean, I'm not giving you a canapé.
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Dope. Yeah. Okay. I dig that.
It's like to eat
Fresh.
full on.
Fresh.
It's like to fully commit.
I thought it meant feast or something like
It
that.
is like that, but it's like less fancy.
I'm gonna do the same thing that you're doing.
Look, I'm good luck with the mint.
What's this? Is this water?
It's water.
Okay. Tracy, still water, please.
Come fress with me. I said, go get your own water. Now, this is a tsimis.
Okay.
Okay. So the word tsimis, it's a kg. This takes about 6 hours.
Oh wow.
It's one of these things. It comes from the shtetl. It's made with brisket, which is the poorer. They were poor there. I mean, you could make this edible. Was to cook it for days.
You said it was cooked with a shtetl?
shtetl.
A shtetl is go ahead.
Well, it's like a village, really, in kind of Eastern Europe. So a lot of South African Jews are from Lithuania and Latvia.
Yeah.
And we were not allowed to live in the towns.
So
you had to live 500 miles away from
In like a
any big
little-
what was called the Pale of the Settlement, and all those tiny little villages were called
and
shtetls.
it was like not living it up.
No, it was what we refer to in Yiddish as a loch, a hole. So KG, it simmers, and I'll just explain to everybody. So it simmers is sweet. It's cooked with prunes, and it can be with dried fruit. It can be with apricots, and it's usually eaten on Rosh Hashanah, on New Year, for a sweet New Year. So I'm going to. The plates are not hot, so you can actually just help yourself. So it's potatoes, sweet potatoes, carrots, prunes, all stewed for about 6 odd hours.
Oh, dope.
And I'm going to get another spoon for the potato pudding, which is one of my favorite things.
All right.
I'm going to dish for you, so I'm going to give you some potato pudding.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm going to give you a cabbage roll.
All right.
And I promise you don't have to eat anything you don't like.
Okay.
But I'm going to give you one to start.
Well, edit it. Wow.
No, baby, that's why you've got a serviette, so you can surreptitiously spit into the serviette. I don't have any dogs. There are no dogs, so he can't actually feed We've had that happen.
Wow, it was delicious.
So now, KG, what I want to know from you
Yes.
is like if you're having when you go back with Ellen to the village,
Yes.
then what is the kind of food you would eat there? Because this food comes from the equivalent of the village. You know, you talk often in his comedy he talks about going back to the village and what life is like there, and
Yeah, but this is, I mean, it feels like we'd have like a beef stew or a chicken stew, basically. Like this looks stewy. Like it looks like a stew in the oven. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
we'd have like a stew that do a slaughter as well. But what we miss the most, like afal.
okay.
Yeah, well, that's what
yeah.
we miss the world. That's what I miss the most. So I want offal. I want trotters.
Okay.
Like I like that. That's my jam.
And now who makes that? Your gogo?
Gogo makes it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's like-
my gogo makes it or my aunt makes it.
Okay, so it's like exactly the same thing. So my aunts taught me to make this food. You know, you've got to learn. I wasn't giving you chopped herring, my friend. I just knew
dope.
I knew my customers here today.
This is dope. This is dope. This is dope.
As you can see, the food here, it takes hours and hours and hours. And I often have that discussion with people about what is better. You know, when you go to the East, all of that food, it literally is fast food in the truest sense. You know, the way they do it in the wok, and it's beautiful food. It's absolutely beautiful. But I don't know. Do you think it's the way we brought up? It's our thinking, like the long, slow cooking. Like for you, I mean, offal must take days as well.
Yeah, it takes a while. Yeah, it takes a while. No, we actually love doing it. So the whole process, Ellen takes pictures of the food that she cooks and that sort of thing. Like
So this was before Instagram. I mean, she doesn't do it to Instagram.
no, she's not doing it for Instagram. She's not I'm encouraging her to post stuff on Instagram because she's really, really good. But you taste when something is done with love. You taste the effort and the care. You know, like they want you to.
Especially when it's like a family meal.
Yeah.
You want to spend the time with each. I feel like it's also about spending time with each other.
Oh, really? So then,
I know.
So you don't have faribbles in your family?
Oh, we have lots of variables, but that's part of like what I like about Rosh Hashanah is that like it's quite stressful.
Do you know what a faribble is, babe?
No idea. I'm learning new words here.
Okay. So a faribble, darling. Every single family in this world, regardless of their denomination, religion, has faribbles.
Yes.
And somebody once said to me, is a faribble like a vendetta? I said, don't be ridiculous. Vendettas you pay off.
Yeah.
Faribbles you inherit.
Okay.
So it's a family feud.
Yes.
And in fact, you can even have a spreadsheet called Faribble 123 where you can list the Faribble, who it's with, the duration, the end date. You've got a start date, you've got an end date. You can leave money in your will to perpetuate a Faribble. To my darling daughter Kate for her wedding, provided she doesn't invite Auntie Muriel.
Wow.
That's a Faribble.
Sorry.
So when Kate talks about family, one just wonders, really? Is anybody actually still talking to each other?
Well, we're shouting.
Well, we all shout, you know.
I am the Faribble at the house. I think I'm the troublemaker at home.
KG, the one thing that I wanted to ask you, just getting back to comedy, do you ever perform in the vernac?
Yeah, I do.
But now here's the question. Do you write in vernac or do you translate? What do you write in? What is your thought process as somebody who's multilingual?
Because I'm doing comedy in Cape Town. Cape Town when I started, didn't have a single vernac space.
Wow.
Right? There wasn't a vernacular space. So I wrote and thought in English. And then there was a time where I could decide who I want to be.
No.
Right? Do I want to go the vernac direction? Do I want to do the English comedy direction?
Okay, so the question I have for you,
Yes.
the delivery of the material, how does it differ? I know even when I do a few things in Afrikaans, there's a different energy, there's a different cadence almost to the voice.
Oh yeah.
You know, so
I think for me now that I'm even becoming like better at delivering vernac, there's so much soul involved, man. There's just ideas that I cannot translate into English. Give me an example. The stuff with my father, for example.
Yes.
I have to take you on a journey of this thing. Yes. You know what I mean? I have to baby you, yes, through this thing. It's almost like I'm talking to somebody from a different country. I have to put you in this thing and go, Trace, this is what it is, this is what it looks like, this is what it means, and then take it.
Yes.
In a vernacular room, I don't have to do that at all.
But honey, it's the same for us. When we are performing to a Jewish room, I don't have to explain a faribble.
Yes.
I can just stand there and go, what Jewish family is ever going to sit without a faribble? I don't have, that's it. Boom.
That's it. And the soul there, and I'll tell you.
Another level even with language as well though.
Yeah, I feel like it's the same with the English and Afrikaans sort of comedians. Something changes, but I'll tell you what, man, like when you speak to your own people about your own things, it's a different ride, man.
Absolutely.
It's yes. It's sometimes I don't even do material. Sometimes I just talk, and there's that soul, man.
And then the acknowledgement of
yeah,
cultural differences,
and
I was watching. I was fortunate enough to do something with Khadija Peck. It was something I can't remember the name. Marianne Tam set it up, where female comics mentored other female comics. And again, although everything was still in English, there was a lot of vernac in terms of, I learned new words like Skinner.
Yes.
Okay, but they talk about feature. We talk about Loshen Horror, having a gossip. Loshen Horror is to talk ugly, gossip. But she was
so crazy. Like, I've never hung out with Jewish people like that. Like, I hung out with Nick and the family, but I've never hung out with Jewish people speaking Jewish. This is so crazy.
Well, that's why you.
I don't know. Tracy's older. I understand why older people, would have the language of the. But you, what?
Because her boba, her gogo, would have spoken like that to her. And these words have become so entrenched in our language.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, my gran was the last person in my family to speak Yiddish fluently.
Yes.
It's Yiddish.
Yeah, all of it's Yiddish, which is like become now slang, basically.
No, but but words like
part of the vernacular.
muzzle and chutzpah and ganef. Go open an Oxford English dictionary. They are all there.
True.
And the comics of the 50s on the Borscht Belt, you know, they used to go and perform at holiday resorts outside New York.
Okay.
And that's where some of the famous Jewish comics,
Yes.
that's where they cut their teeth.
Wow.
And all of these words like Ganef, and Ganef is a thief. So the lawyers' names were Ganef and Ganef.
Oh, wow.
You know,
okay.
thief and thief. You know, but all of these words came, they're Yiddish. I mean, my father's mother never learned English when she came here.
Yeah.
She spoke Yiddish and she spoke Russian and a little bit of English, enough to get, but my father and his brothers and everyone, they did everything in English. They never learned English. She spoke Yiddish to his mother, and they only conversed in Yiddish.
This is so dope.
Yeah, it took a couple generations for...
Well, it's only really 3, because it's my granny, then my father, then me, but...
Yeah.
Hang on a second. So, what I've come to show
Oh, wow.
Oh my god.
this is my father's family. But look there, that's my father.
Oh,
so
wow.
this must have been taken in about 1926.
Oh, wow.
Because my father, and so the daughters were born in Lithuania.
Yeah.
Then in 1908 there were the terrible pogroms.
Yeah.
And a massive. So that's when there was a massive wave. There were 2 waves of immigration.
Yeah.
1898 and then 1908.
Wow.
But that's my grandfather.
Yeah.
And he came over in 1908 and sent for her and the girls.
What was his
Wow.
Mendel David.
name? Okay.
Mendel David Schneider.
Great. That is a what a name.
Yeah.
But you would know those things because something interesting. You were known by your parents' names. So my father would have been Joska, Joe, Ben, son of Mendel David.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. I get it. Makes sense.
You see, and so
Yes.
and there are the boys. And then this is my aunt who escaped the Bolsheviks in 1917
wow.
and rode across Russia on horseback and escaped.
Oh, wow.
And look at these beautiful photos. Can you see the shine on it?
Yes.
It's silver because the original photographs were all done on silver paper.
Oh,
so when
snap.
look at so this was taken at her son's bar mitzvah.
Yeah.
He was 13.
Oh, the stories, eh?
And these 2, Auntie Polly and Auntie Sarah, are the 2 that taught me to cook.
Oh.
Now I want to hear more about the comedy now. So you started off at Jokers. Now Mel Chevlaine was delightful. She started off a little comedy school. It was in Athlone in Hay.
It was an athlete, yeah.
And
Can I hang out like
I
this?
said to my mom, and she said, "Where are you going?" And I said, Rondebosch East Extension. And she said, "There's no such place." I said, "I know, because my mother was born and bred in Cape Town. She knows."
Oh, yeah.
She said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to Athlone." She said, "They won't think you funny. I don't think you should go."
But I was there when you were.
Yes.
I think it was your first time. You were with Miles Jones on the lineup. You killed it.
Right
Yeah,
there.
I remember that. Because I was only starting. You know, when you're starting, you're watching other people perform. You're like, whoa.
Yes.
Will I ever become that good? This Helen Zilla lady is so good. You were so good. You killed it. That there was something that I knew that I had to do something stagey, right? So in college, I went to poetry sessions at the Semi-Mark Square. They did poetry, and it was a thing called Uhurua Maisha, and the poets were really good. But I was terrible. I enjoyed it, I understood it, but I couldn't. I couldn't write. I couldn't write like that. I couldn't. Yeah, but it wasn't even that. There was a vibe, man. It was the black people, man. You know, like that's it was a vibe. It had soul. It left me sort of light every single time I went, and I went
because we went to a poetry session and a poetry comedy session at the Slug and Lettuce there where was it? It gets flooded every year at the golf course there in
at the
River Club, and unfortunately the poetry was funnier than the comedy.
Oh snap!
No, it wasn't. Yes, it was. We were crying.
Oh wow!
It wasn't supposed to be. But I went with Adam and Jake, and they fell on the floor. Yes.
Oh wow!
They lost it.
No, like that was like
good poetry is like
it was like it was good, and it was young people, and I was trying to find myself at the time. Like it was that who am I like type of phase,
like
and
perform, but like not
and they were political, and they knew stuff, and they read African literature, and like. They had answers for everything. You pull out a history book and say this, and they're like, we have our own history books. There, you were like, we got. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it was like a brilliant time, but I couldn't partake fully because I just couldn't write like that. And I got a job, bought a car. I bought a car on the Thursday. The Friday night was Blacks Only. Now Blacks Only was run by David Kagu, you know, like, and they were talking about it.
I've never been invited on Blacks Only.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
It's the best gig in the country. By far, it's the best gig in the country for me.
I'd say yes, because I was just going to say for me maybe not.
Oh, Trace.
I know.
I pray David puts you on. People run in the theater. It's just like
it's the best.
They're having so much fun. They're running. They stand up and oh my God, they're running. And
wonderful.
People get on top of chairs. It's not enough that you're getting a standing ovation. This person is sitting on top of a chair going, what the hell?
Because you've got to remember, and I get that, because your material addresses so many huge issues, but in a very subtle, very refined, very sharp. It's like a stiletto. Your blade's like your material's like a stiletto blade.
Wow.
It's sharp, but it's to the point.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
You know, and some of those punchlines and some of those you make a point, but it's sharp and succinct.
Wow,
and
thank you.
Gets there.
I think about it when I think about it every so often. I sit and I
For
think,
real?
Yes, I was thinking about your doom pasta joke.
Oh damn!
Because you take us through the steps of the thing until I'm like within the space. I'm like in the line waiting to be sprayed with doom. That's like how it feels.
There's a funny story about that. Do you know who did that for me? My father.
Yeah.
My father is a writer. He likes to say he's still a journalist, but my father writes really well. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, my father sent me a piece he wrote, a month ago for Jumbo Africa. This is publication that he writes for. Oh my goodness, the first paragraph. My father writes well, bruh. Well. Now, my father is reading this Oliver Twist book. I think it was Oliver Twist. And as he's reading, he laughs. Oh, what you laughing at? And then he goes, this dude just showed up. And he starts describing the dude based on what's on the book. He goes, he's wearing this. He's got this choker thing that he's wearing. You know, and then he's describing the thing. And then he talks about this dude blowing his nose with a handkerchief. Right? He's just going and he blew with one nose and then another nostril. And then as he's blowing, the other part of this handkerchief thing is is, you know what I mean? He's like, yeah, tatazela like this, waibona. And then we're looking at this guy explaining just one section of a book, and it feels like we are in this book with him.
Yeah.
So that's where you got your story.
Yeah. And then he goes, when you write, I gotta smell what you're writing about. Like when there's food, I gotta go, oh, there's a smell of peanuts. There's a smell of coffee. This is what the coffee smells like.
It's got to suck.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense for you.
Dude, like he sent that, and I sent it to other friends. It was like, look at my old man. My old man can write, bruh. Like,
so what's your vernacular language?
I don't even know. I'm like my grandmother's Zulu, Ngonyani, right? So we grew up in a Setswana environment where my grandmother speaking isiZulu to us.
Right.
But we were in a Tswana space. And my father is a Tsonga person, Shangaan person, raised by Batswana. So we spoke Setswana, you know what I mean? Like even at home, it's so weird at home because my mother, my sister and I speak to my mother in different languages.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we all three of us sit and we speak like 2 languages.
Oh my God.
And you understand each other.
We all understand, we all speak all these languages properly, but I speak Zulu to my mom's, my sister speaks Setswana, and I speak Setswana to...
But when you're on stage?
When I'm on stage...
Zulu or Setswana?
It depends on where I am.
No.
Yeah, if I'm here, I speak Xhosa. If I'm in KZN, Zulu comes out.
Okay, right.
If I'm in Pretoria, Setswana comes out.
Right,
Depends.
but is it the same story in different...
It's the same story.
But
It's the same story.
Nuances because of the cultural references.
Yeah, the cultural references, the language, you know, like, yeah.
Because that's what you're doing in comedy at its essence, is you're like, you have the same story, you have the same joke, but like depending on who you're in the room with, the thing changes.
Yeah, but the reason why people aren't laughing, the reasons, it could be anything. It could have nothing to do with the story.
Yeah.
I can do a gag right now and destroy. I've got gags where I go, this gag has never failed me.
Yes.
But there are spaces where it's
that's
you know,
yes.
and I go, it's got nothing to do with the gag.
Yeah.
It's got everything to do with other things happening.
Yeah.
Okay, but then, Katie, this is where I say that women are different to men. Because when things go wrong, women, we blame ourselves. You, the first thing, the room wasn't right, the sound wasn't right, maybe the audience wasn't right, maybe...
No, it's not that at all.
The first thing I do is go, the material didn't work.
No, it's not that. I go, I know the material works. I know the material works based on the number of times I've done the material and the number of places I've done the material. I've done the material in Cape Town, Joburg, and Dar es Salaam. This material works.
Yeah.
So if it fails, you know, somewhere I go, maybe it's the way I was delivering it, because sometimes your timing is off. Maybe the lighting, maybe I did it too soon. Maybe I spoke about sex too soon. Maybe I was supposed to butter them up first. Maybe I spoke about race in a space where these people are very touchy. Maybe, you understand? Maybe these people love the government and, you know, I thought we... You know, we all hate the government, and this is the thing, you know. Sometimes, like, I had, like, jokes about a certain bank, right?
Yes. We all have that.
I had jokes about a certain bank, and these jokes worked all the time. These baloney jokes. You remember,
Yes.
And then this time around, I'm doing this joke, and it's like my ones. So my jokes, I've got 1s, 2s, and 3s, right? I was taught that by actually David Kubuka. David Kubuka and Dumiso Lindi told me about 1s, 2s, and 3s.
Yes.
So I've packed my stuff into 1s, 2s, and 3s. So when things are not working out, I go with just 1s, or I go with 1, 2, 3. Like I structure in terms of 1, 2, 3. Now I'm doing this bit and it's a 1. but this one is not lending. We came along very nicely. Like I had them, and then I got into the banking thing, and it's just not working out. I know this game works. So I asked them, guys, why aren't you? They go, no, the CEO of the bankers.
Oh
Ladies and gentlemen, you know what? I just loved having you, Katie.
Thank you.
It's just so lovely to get another insight into comedy, vernac comedy, KG's journey, and of course for me to feed him and to find out what he would have eaten if he hadn't had brisket. I'm sorry, my babe, you're never going to have trotters in this house, ever. I can tell you categorically. I can only give you brisket and cabbage rolls and potato pudding.
I would be weird eating trotters made by a white person.
Oh, thank God.
A South African white person.
You would have to be person.
You would have to be Italian or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It has to be like a thing in your country. But if you're like from South Africa, just give me you gave me brisket?
Yes.
I'm happy. Thank you very much.
So ladies and gentlemen, join us again for another episode of Come Fress with me. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, KG. I've just loved having you. All the food you've seen today is available on order on WhatsApp. This number, 063 534 2139. Alternatively, pop past the Oranjezicht Farm Market on a Saturday or Sunday and see what we have at our store, Taste of Class. We look forward to seeing you and thank you for joining us on Come Fress with me.